Good afternoon and welcome back to another ironic introduction to another video. Today I have a preseason Plat 1 war as I'm adjusting to a new path and a new tier. It's honestly not that much worse. So this is the first war in preseason that I've actually properly cleared my lane, so I thought it'd be a good video. It is a new tactic meta of Protect, so the large and extra large champions, but that also means the return of Ghost and Quake. Now Ghost still works really well as long as you acknowledge the fact that you do need to hit those intercepts in order to keep the Protect node from really screwing you over. It's not that big of a deal. It's actually really easy to deal with. Here I was just kind of doing my full run tactic and I just wasn't paying attention, did it a little too early. That's okay, I'm able to recover and do a sweet SP2 heavy punish here, but the protection node actually completely neuters Ghost's lethality with that. So going forward, I'm not even going to bother SP2ing with her against large plus extra large champions because it's just honestly worse than just a regular attack. So with that in mind, I do move into this Venom the Duck. He has some interesting nodes. All I know is if it's Warlock, I shouldn't Quake him, but because it's Venom the Duck, I'm not concerned at all. So I'm going to go ahead and Quake. There's some nodes, I think it's like when he fails to trigger a buff, you get a power drain debuff or something. Honestly, I don't know. If it's Quakeable, I usually just completely ignore the nodes because you're not interacting with them anyways. So we're going to go ahead and Quake. I think after this Quake rotation, I let go of Heavy just a little too soon. It's really not that big of a deal. There it is. So he dash back, he double dash back. I was expecting a dash in, but that's okay. No punishment for it. I'm able to just continue the Quake rotation. I will say something about the whole Protect Stubborn thing is as much as I love having Quake and Ghost back in war, it's amazing how much more boring it is for me to just sit here and commentate. So you're gonna get a lot of this of me just filling in the conversation. But again, probably won't be too often because this is typically a Warlock fight. That's what I've been alerted of because you can't Quake it. There's an interaction with Quake and then the power drain debuff that causes you to permanently degen, and then that ends up just completely wrecking Quake's health. You can still Quake it, it's just expensive and there's no point. You should just bring someone else. But sure enough, this Venom the Duck goes down pretty smoothly. I imagine they were probably testing it for the large less extra large protection, but again, with the return of Quake meta, really no point. So I have my second path here, path 7 in tier 2. This is a Storm X with the Spite and Powerful from Afar. Pretty much if it's not Domino here, I bring in Doom. The reason that Storm X worked pretty good against Doom here is because she does have that glancing, that 60% chance of glancing on basic attacks. It's not too big of a deal because a lot of Doom's power can come from his SP1. If you run High Mystic Dispersion, the prowesses from Storm X are really good. The SP1 is a reliable power control, and if you manage your spacing and your distance, you can also steal the power gain buff from the Powerful from Afar, allows you to ramp up to your SP3 really consistently. So as long as you keep that rotation up, you're fine. Also, once you've nullified the Ice Tempest buff, so essentially you want to knock Storm X down once, make her trigger both buffs, and then you want to SP1 her to nullify it. This will give you an opportunity to have an anti-glance, but even then you just stick with your SP3 rotation with Doom. Even though I run recoil and stuff, it's not a big deal because you do take 20 to 30% of your health, but you're typically only using Doom for 1 or 2 fights anyways on this pathing, so it doesn't really matter and hurt my masteries at all, to be honest. But next up we have a Mojo, which will be another simple Quake. After that I think I have Hazard Shift Void. Now the thing about Mojo is that you do have to be a little bit more careful. If you accidentally lose your heavy and lose that precision buff, it could totally wreck your health. Also there is some minor power control mechanics, so on the off chance you get super unlucky and Mojo say plays super passive and he triggers the block one over and over again to the point where he's gaining power, then you do run into issues. You do have the potential for an SP1 lethality, but as long as you're looking out for it, most times you won't have to worry about it. Quake will just burn him down fast enough, but every once in a while you just have to know that you need to switch to just standard playstyle method. Also, this is kinetic transference, so you don't want to be parrying because then you'll also push him to an SP1. Not a hard fight, just things to be aware of. After this, I move into a Hazard Shift Void, and I'm going to bring in Ghost. So I played this fight pretty aggressively. I think at one point I started taking a lot of you know, just fun and interactive damage. But honestly, I did that because I knew I had the pacing down fine and I knew I was going to be okay. But Hazard Shift is going to be a node that people just ghost. Like, honestly, you could 4-star ghost this. It's such a joke. With Void, I do throw a couple extra hits in here when I can, just to try to bring myself up close to 10 to remove that Void debuff as soon as possible. You're gonna see here, I'm gonna dash in, block the SP1 part there. That's just because while I have the timing down when I'm dexing the first bit, I don't have the timing down when I'm phasing the first bit. So that's a little something I need to practice, but honestly, when you're full health and I know I don't need to use Ghost again, I'll just play safe every time, because there's no reason to flex skills if honestly the skill to flex is getting the one shot and not dying. So I'm really healthy here. He's pretty much dead. He switches into this super passive playstyle, which is unfortunate. A series of really good reparries here, but just like a bad heavy punish, unfortunately, brings me up to here. I shouldn't have hit him here. That was a mistake. I even realized it. I go for the 4 hit because now I am taking that fun and interactive damage from Void, but he's almost dead. I'm able to knock it off, phase some poisons, and then finish him off with a 1-tap. And that's my war. That really is the end of it. Very short. I'm really looking forward to running P1 wars all season and seeing that push for Masters. As always, let me know what you think, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.